Welcome to the deep dive. So picture this. You're sprinting through, say, Fortnite or maybe dodging explosions in GTA V, and everything just looks, well, incredibly real, right? But did you ever stop and think about what's actually going on inside your PC? Like all the invisible work turning code into those amazing visuals. Today, that's what we're diving into. We've got a stack of sources, and we're going to unpack the magic behind the unsung hero of your gaming setup.
Yeah, it's a great question. And that hero, that's your graphics card. The GPU, you can almost think of it as like the dedicated artist inside your computer. Its entire job is just rendering stuff, images, animations, video, turning all that game code into what you actually see on screen. It's tackling the really tough jobs, drawing the 3D models, putting on the textures, handling the lighting, special effects, and yeah, rendering every single frame.
Okay, okay, the artist. I like that. But let's get into the how. How does this artist actually, do all that during a game? Walk us through it.
Right. It's basically a four-step dance. Pretty precise. First up, when you start a game, the game engine, think Unreal Engine, Unity, that kind of thing, it sends just a ton of data over to the main brain, the CPU. We're talking object positions, textures, lighting info, all of it.
So the CPU gets this first wave of information, but it sounds like it pretty quickly says, whoa, graphic stuff, not my main gig.
Exactly. That's step two. The CPU handles some basic instructions, sure, but then it basically says, okay, GPU, tag, you're it, and passes all that visual data over. And this is where it gets really interesting. The GPU grabs all that data and just takes over the heavy graphics workload. It starts calculating like the exact 3D position for every little thing in the scene using, well, a lot of math. Then it slaps on the textures, the surfaces, and the shaders. Shaders are tiny programs telling it how light should bounce off things, making them look shiny or rough or whatever. Adds the lighting, the shadows, and then boom, renders a complete picture one frame at a time.
Wow. So it's like this massive construction project happening constantly.
Yeah.
Calculating, texturing, lighting, and once a frame is built, what happens?
Yeah.
Step 4.
Yep. Step 4, the GPU sends that finished frame straight out to your monitor. And it does this over and over super fast. That's what you see as smooth motion, as gameplay.
That whole process is just intricate, especially that handoff where the GPU just dives in. It makes you wonder, what is it about a GPU? What's inside that lets it handle all that heavy lifting, so much more than a CPU seems to?
Yeah, the secret sauce is really parallelism, massively parallel. Inside a GPU, you don't have just a few cores like a CPU. You have thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of smaller, simpler cores. And that structure, it's just perfect for doing tons of similar calculations all at the same time, which is exactly what graphics rendering needs. And it's not just more cores anymore. Modern cards like the NVIDIA RTX 40 series or AMD's Radeon RX 7000, these things are beasts. They have specialized cores too. RT cores specifically for ray tracing calculations, tensor cores for AI stuff. So they're not just throwing raw power at it. They're intelligently calculating light, for instance, super fast. It's a whole different level of specialization.
Huh. So less like one super smart chef, more like an army of specialized cooks all working at once.
Yeah.
Makes sense why it's so fast. Okay, so bringing it back to the person actually playing the game, what does all this tech actually mean for you? Why should you care about having a powerful GPU?
Well, it translates directly into a better experience, plain and simple. Higher frame rates, first off. That means smoother motion, less choppiness, makes the game feel more responsive. Big deal in fast-paced games. You also get much better graphics quality. You can turn up the settings, enable fancy features like ray tracing.
Ray tracing, right? That's the hyper-realistic lighting and reflections.
Exactly, where the GPU literally traces light beams bouncing around. Looks incredible. So, yeah, ultimately, less lag, deeper immersion, just a much more visually stunning game. Honestly, for anyone serious about gaming or maybe thinking about game development, the GPU, it's probably the single most important piece of hardware in their PC.
Right. So next time you're totally lost in some virtual world, just take a second. Remember that GPU humming away, working incredibly hard behind the scenes. It's rendering every single shadow, every explosion, every blade of grass in real time to make it all feel real.
Yeah, and it makes you think, doesn't it? Now that you know a bit about this incredibly complex real-time process, how does that change the way you appreciate those virtual worlds you explore? Those worlds that just seem so effortless on screen? And maybe more interesting, what does it hint about where digital experiences might be heading next?